She has since recovered from her breakdown after help from medication and her husband Peter Barlow, played by Chris Gascoigne, in Coronation Street. However, after Stephen Reed, Todd Boyce, begins to take drastic action to get his revenge on Carla, Alison King, Peter could begin to start to worry that she is slipping back into her old ways. In upcoming scenes, Carla tells Sarah Platt, Dina O'Brien, she can finish working on her designs in return for an apology. She also tells Stephen to resurrect the deal with Rufus and in return, he'll receive 15% commission and a permanent contract. Taking her up on the offer, Stephen heads to Rufus's hotel where he makes it clear he's not interested, but Stephen begs him to reconsider. Rufus hands Stephen a vial of LSD and heads to the bathroom where he snorts a line of coke, before collapsing and clutching at his chest. As the paramedics attend to Rufus, Carla calls Stephen wondering if he's sealed the deal, reassuring her that it's in the bag. While Rufus is wheeled out by the paramedics, Stephen practices Rufus's signature on the unsigned contract when he hears a knock at the door. A sex worker called Candice barges her way in and demands her money, giving Stephen an idea. Carla calls a meeting with Sarah and Stephen and explains Sarah is now head of design whilst Stephen will be office manager. Determined to have his revenge on Carla, Stephen slips into the underworld office with the vial of LSD from Rufus's briefcase and slips the LSD into Carla's coffee. After drinking the coffee, Carla heads onto the factory floor, clearly discombobulated and woozy. In the Rovers, Stephen spikes Carla's red wine with another vial of LSD, and when Peter calls at the pub, he immediately realizes Carla isn't well. She stares at the factory girls, her paranoia growing by the second, and is helped out of the pub by Peter, who is worried sick that her psychosis is returning. Stephen sneaks into Carla's office, deletes a meeting with Dick Havisham from her diary and muddles up her paperwork. The next day when Carla checks her diary, she tells Peter she was convinced she had a meeting with Dick Havisham. In the factory, Stephen hands Carla another mug of tea laced with LSD and convinces her that she cancelled the meeting with Dick Havisham. When Dick Havisham calls wondering where she's got to, Carla heads off to meet him, clearly flustered. Peter offers Paul Foreman, Peter Ash, a spin on his new motorbike, but when Carla calls at the garage to collect her car, Abby Franklin, Sally Carmen, refuses to hand over her keys. Carla spots the underworld van and starts the engine and careers down the street, crashing into Paul astride Peter's bike, leaving him wincing in pain. Is Stephen drugging Carla to make it look like she is unfit to lead the factory and take over from her? Will Peter worry that his wife's mental health is deteriorating and be forced to take immediate action for her own safety? Coronation Street boss Ian McLeod previously touched on Carla and Peter's relationship becoming fragile after he begins to think she is slipping back into her psychosis. He explained to Express.co. UK and other press, principally, their story will center on her war with Stephen and Peter's role in that is essentially being deeply concerned about his wife's history of mental health problems. He will put her offside by trying to be overly protective of a few situations and try to fight some of her battles for her, try to intervene in an unhelpful way to suggest that her priorities are all wrong. And what we're trying to do with that couple actually is just play them as a couple that bickers and fall out, and you've seen his stuff recently about them falling out over his conspiracy-mindedness. So we're just trying to dramatize some of the tensions that exist in all couple of different political views and things like that. So yeah, they are bubbling along nicely, but it's kind of in readiness for this story later on when Carla suddenly finds herself thrust into Steven's crosshairs in a certain amount of danger as a result of that. Coronation Street airs Monday, Wednesday and Friday from 8 p.m. on ITV.